Yeah, I think you're right. The reason that I didn't go for Hosana straight away was because we had reports that it was Tundi on the radio, but of course that was from the guys in the bushwalk. They can hardly see this animal. And I did see golden orb of some description sticking out from behind the tail there, so it's probably just Hosana. But interesting how he's reacted to the bushwalk, because he never used to react like that. And if it is him, which it most likely is, it's just that he's getting a bit older. Magnificent. Now, what's interesting really is where he's come from. Because where were his tracks during the course of the day? We followed that leopard all the way down towards Twin Dams this morning. It was most probably Tingana. Now, varieties, we look at this what we think is a young male leopard. You want to know how would his size compare with that of a lioness? It wouldn't really. A lioness is about twice the size, at least. I'm just going to have to call this in on the radio. Stations, there's a... Oh, no, the radio's not working. No, still not working. Stations, young male leopard on Vuyatela Dam wall on the western side. Right, so look behind the tail there. There are two golden orbs confirming the identification of Hosana. I should have known that straight off, of course. His head just looked a little bit small. But maybe that was psychological, because I'd heard the term Tundi. Anyway, no excuse on my part. Very poor, but I do disclaim by saying my ability to identify cats is very poor. Yeah, I can't recognize faces either. I think he's going to move now when this car comes up, because I don't think they can see him, and I think they're going to come round the corner. Well, it's very interesting. Hampus or Pampas? Hampus with an H. You're wondering if a leopard like this might feel an emotion like anger. Well, yes, I think they would. I think certainly a female, let's take the example of a female leopard who is with her cubs, and if you happen to blunder into them while they're trying to eat or something like that, then you could easily get charged. And I'm pretty sure the emotion that makes her charge is very closely akin to anger. Do they feel happiness? Well, I think they feel a relative sense of contentment when they're full and they've eaten their food. Now he's looking up because he can hear Impala alarm calling. And so, especially a young male like this who really hasn't taken on the responsibility of a territory just yet, I think that he would certainly feel a certain amount of contentment. Do they feel sadness? I don't know. Do they feel bereft? I'm not sure that they do. Right, let us go back to the heroes of the day. That is, of course, Herbert, Steve, and the Bushwalk team. Let's go across to them and thank them profusely for Hosana.
We were convinced there was something there. We'd moved out of the area thinking, well, what did we say? We haven't stepped on him yet. And then as we were moving up the hill, we heard the with a loud yala barking. And in we went, and he was lying, well, he was moving when we saw him, exactly where we've been spending some time. So how was that for you folks? But for us, fantastic. Has anyone managed to ID it yet? I'm not sure. We've got another look at him or her from a distance, but I can't quite identify it. But the feelings, the exhilaration of it is quite something. Dave's had to have quite a calm down session because he had the hold in the frame for that entire time. Well, how marvellous is that? Herbie strikes again. So we've had a marvellous afternoon. We're going to go back and reward ourselves. It's starting to get dark. I think we've earned something refreshing for our throats this afternoon. And we're going to move off out of the area. Let James in the vehicle enjoy his sighting in the area. And I'm sure you'll be able to get much better shots with Seb on the helm over there. But that's it, on foot, seeing a cat like that. It's all about those just little bits of movement. Crouching down and running and looking. It's really quite special to be able to spend this time with these cats on foot. And sure, we're very, very... I don't know really what else to say about that. Okay, well, Brent was very supportive of this drive. Let's go over to him and see his thoughts.
Well, they definitely pulled it out towards the end there, and hopefully we're going to do the same in the last 50 minutes or so. So I'm going very slowly as the sun sets. I'm hoping to see the Djuma pride creep across the road, or actually stride across the road back into... Okay, our audio is still not good. I think I'm going to have to make a dash back to Jared to see if he can help us fix it. Let's go back to Steve.
Okay, well, it seems that there's some technical issues with Brent. James is putting on his infrared so that you can get amazing shots of whoever that is after dark. We're going to make our way back up to the clearing. By quarantine, no doubt there's going to be some wildebeest and impala in the way. As exciting as they are, nothing is quite as exciting as what we just went through. Thank you for sticking with us that entire time, and glad you all had faith in the Bushwalk team and on how on fire we have been of late. Really quite incredible. Patty, no, I don't think Herbie's got binoculars. Herbie, do you use binoculars to spot the animals? You don't have, eh? He's got eagle eyes, eagle eyes. He spotted that leopard just in front of us there. You saw as we got excited. He got excited. Just the imminent sort of presence of that cat was just suddenly there. And we weren't that far from it when we spotted it, so you don't need the binoculars, but they do help. I was using them during that segment to try and get a look at the face and see the spot pattern. But it was crouching low like this. I couldn't get those patterns there. Well, it seems like James has managed to sort out all his lights. Let's go back to him and his beautiful cat.
We have sorted out our lights. We don't need to use them yet, but we've got the infrared on, just in case we need them a little bit later. Well, we will need them a little bit later. I'm not leaving this cat unless he hides from us, disappears, leaves us be. Hopefully he won't. He looks very content, but he also looks a little bit hungry, I think. I think that subject of animal emotions is a very interesting one because it opens up questions about the evolution of emotion and what it's for. Why, from a biological point of view, do we feel sadness, emotion, anger, happiness? What other emotions are there? Bereavement, all of those sorts of things. Why? What for? And I think the answer is that certainly as the world's most social species, or complicatedly social species, hello my friend, it's really lovely to see you. As the world's most complicated social species, I think what you'll find is that our emotions as human beings really help us to... Our emotions as human beings, I'm just going to let yours go past, really help us to cement those bonds. we don't like the feeling of sadness, and so when we do feel sad, it makes us try and avoid that, and we avoid it by getting close to people who we love, and that makes our bonds that much closer, I'm guessing. Now, of course, in most of the animal kingdom, this doesn't apply. A lot of animals like to be solitary. For example, young Hosana here will eventually become solitary, although he has showed a slightly greater penchant for friends than many other leopards have. Now Joy, are human emotions not evolved from animal emotions? Yes, they have, but in the same way that our legs have modified to allow us to walk bipedally or on 2 feet, we don't have paws anymore, so our emotions have also changed and evolved to deal with a whole set of different circumstances. Our lives don't have to deal with anything like the physical or emotional stresses that Hosanas do. So, it would be pointless for Hosana to be bipedal, for example. And so in the same way, while it may well be pointless for Hosana to feel a sense of great joy even, or perhaps sadness at the loss of his sister. Let's go around here and see if we can't get a better look at him. He's going straight up towards quarantine clearings, which are not far from our camp. I'll just get a little bit further up here and see if we can't get a better look. And I hope, for the sake of Hosana, that he managed to get himself a nice rutting impala. Well, Pangolin, this is also a lovely question. You say, is it reasonable to assume that animals that live in more complicated groups have more, more sophisticated or more evolved emotions? Was that correct? More, I forgot the word, Rebecca. Do they have more emotion, more developed emotions? I think they probably do. I think that would be a fairly accurate portrayal of the situation, because those social, I'm guessing here, I haven't read this, those social bonds that exist between human beings or between members of a hyena clan or members of a chimpanzee troop are infinitely more complicated than the social bonds that exist between leopards. And I think you'll probably find that that does mean the suite of emotions that those animals feel may well be stronger than those felt by something like a leopard. But I'm happy to hear if anybody disagrees with me. I'm more than happy to debate it as we watch Hosana walk from termite mound to termite mound. He's just in here, Seb. He's just gone behind that bush there. There he is. We'll just go up past this rather difficult spot. Caitlin, you're wondering at what stage this young fellow is going to start marking a territory. I don't think for another year or two. And that's because he will be smelling both his father and Hukumuri in this area. If he were to go into an area that was obviously devoid of other male leopards, I think you'll find he'd probably start marking almost immediately. Well, maybe in about 6 months or so. He's not sexually mature yet. He really is a youngster. You see him there, Seb? He was coming towards those log, yeah. Okay, we're going to go to infrared, everybody. Okay, Rebecca, here we go. Okay, go. You got him. Where? Ah, yes. There he is. Coming straight past us. I quite like this black and white picture we get. I guess it gives a small impression of what it's like to be a predator at night, although it's not in black and white. I think the extra contrast that you can see in this picture is very similar to what he experiences. Nick, you're wondering at what age he'll start mating. Well, roughly the same age that he takes a territory. So as soon as he finds a territory, and that will obviously have some females in it, as soon as one of them comes into estrus, well, then he will mate with her. I feel like he's not looking nearly as solid as he normally does. And maybe that's just because his belly's a bit empty. Yeah, Nancy, I agree with you. I think he does look thin. And he's certainly on the hunt. Alright, now, in case you're wondering where Brent Leo Smith is, there is a problem with his sound, but it doesn't matter at the moment, because of course we have a leopard. So I'm sure you'll put up with being with me. Stop here and get out the way. Sorry, Sebastian. There you are. Look at that little tail going. Just peeking his head over the top here to see. Ooh, here we go. He spotted something. There's a lot of impala activity here. There'll be a lot of nyala activity too. And we just need to be very careful that we don't ruin some sort of hunt for him, and if necessary we will simply extract from the sighting if it looks to me like we are going to disturb him. He needs a meal. I really don't want to be responsible for his not getting one. Oh, he's been spotted. Impala started shouting. Oh, there he goes. Kev, you want to know about whether or not this leopard's unusual sociality is he chasing? If there are other leopards that have shown the same kind of sociality as he has. I'm sure there are, Kev. I mean, he's not been that unusual. It's just been interesting. And I suppose we possibly built on it. There he is. We've possibly built on it slightly more because in this area he certainly seems to have been more social than others. But remember, young male leopards and young female leopards, but mostly males, will often be just a little bit more social than they will as adults. And so because we don't spend as much time with them as we do with adults, it's just a little bit different. Okay, now what's interesting here, let's go for it, Bex. There are impala in front of him that have not looked at him, but there are some that are alarm calling way behind. But there are others that are just grazing, they're not moving at all. Yeah, you'll see them, they're straight in front of us there, Seb. Bearing in mind that you are the only eyes we have on the cat now as well, because it's got too dark for my eyes to see him. There's the impala, with its head down, grazing, oblivious. There are others calling, but they're a long way away. There's no ways they can see him. They're way down there. Alright, let's go back to the cat. Alright everyone, we're going to go to an unscheduled Facebook broadcast. Okay, apparently we're not going to have an unscheduled broadcast. There is a large gremlin in the works. Anyway, so let's just sit here and wait and see what happens. Isn't this marvellous? Ellen, you say, could being laid back be a problem for his survival? No, I don't think so. Like I say, I think we probably played up his laid-back nature slightly more than it is in reality. He's definitely more laid back than some leopards I've known, and definitely more relaxed around people. But that's not to say that he's a sort of lazy teenager, if you like. He is very much a leopard. Remember, he killed a male impala, fully grown male impala, I think almost a year ago. And he was just over a year old. He was 14 months. And that's unusual. So he's clearly highly skilled at the art of killing. Their impala running straight towards him. Come on, there they go. Get one, come on, get one. Go, go, go. I don't know what's going on now. Here they come again. They're coming past him. All right, everybody who's just joined us, here we are with a young male leopard live from the Kruger National Park in South Africa, the Western Edges. That is Hosana, a 2-and-a-bit-year-old male leopard, and he's on the hunt, hunting some rutting impala males. My name is James Hendry, and you can ask us any questions you'd like to. We're not going to look at my face, which is a good thing for you, but I'm not going to introduce myself because the only way we can see this cat is with the infrared light we have on him. We cannot see him otherwise. It's very dark here, and all around you might be able to hear the impala alarm calling. Now they're shouting at each other. They're not actually alarm calling. They're having a fight. There's some walking straight towards him. And I can't start the car because I'll give them a fright, and I don't want to sort of ruin what could be a special hunt. Back into him. Here they come. He's moving a little bit forward. There are a few just coming past him now. Now, he's one of our very favourite special leopards, this chap. He was born on the 3rd of February 2016. And for those of you who have watched one of these little broadcasts before, you will probably know him. He's featured heavily. And he's just trying to find his way in the world as a young, independent male leopard. And he looks hungry. Now, it's difficult to tell if those impala are alarm calling or if they're making their rutting calls. The fact that there aren't more of them making a noise, I'm beginning to think that they haven't seen him. I think they think there's something. Oh, there we go. That's now alarm call. Now they think there's a predator. And Oled, as I've just said, he's just over 2 years old. He was born on the 3rd of February 2016. There's still some walking towards him, I can just see their silhouettes moving through the grass towards him. We might still get lucky here. Or he might get lucky. It's just past 6 o'clock in the evening here. And we've gone, it's just before 6 o'clock in the evening. We've gone into sort of the autumn. And so it's already pretty dark out here. Deanna, you're saying you're hoping he catches his dinner. I must say I hope that too. I'm not usually a fan of watching a kill, but this little fellow we are so fond of, and it would be wonderful if he managed to get himself a meal. Now there are monkeys alarm calling somewhere else. You can hear them going, cow, 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 cow. And it could mean that there's another leopard around. Belinda, you wondering how long they can go without eating for? Not very long. About 4 or 5 days they will really start to wear it. But remember, he will eat something big, like an impala that'll last him a week. But also, hang on, there's an impala coming at everybody. But also what will happen is that they will eat small things like scrub hairs. and lizards and things if they have to. I just don't want to miss an animal coming past him. Kate, you said they hunt in packs. No, they live completely solitary lives. So he's on his own, unlike lions who would be hunting as a team. Here, leopards live solitary lives. Look, there's an impala. He's missed it. He hasn't seen it. I don't think he saw it. Maybe he did. No, he's seen it. And remember, because of... It's a funny trick that the camera plays. That impala looks a lot closer to him than it actually was. We're in a great position here. Perfect position to see. Hello, Madhu. You're all the way from Nepal and wondering what on earth is happening here. We're watching a leopard in the Greater Kruger National Park of South Africa, and he's hunting impala. It's 6 o'clock in the evening, and this young male leopard is trying to catch himself some dinner. There's another one coming towards him now. An impala is an antelope. Let's see what happens here. Let's see what he does. Now he seems to be a little bit more disinterested. It's still relatively light for an animal that sees well at night. And remember that most of the impala and the antelope out here, as well as the predators, see much better at night than we do. Let's just see. Melinda, you say, will he wait for a smaller impala, a baby, perhaps? No, Melinda, I don't think so. Ooh, look at that. That's a good size impala, that. He's certainly big enough to take that. I'm just going to tell that person to turn their lights on. Station approaching quarantine. Please go lights down. This animal is hunting. Please go lights down, lights down. If there's one way to ruin a lion and leopard's hunt, it is to shine on the leopard. Okay, he's looking now. I think that those impala don't know he's here, but I think bad luck has meant they've just moved slightly too far from him. He's got to be very close. He's got to be within 15 meters or so to make a dash at an adult. And I think they've moved a little bit too far away from him. But now he's sitting up. And he's sitting up probably because it's got dark enough. Matt, you're wondering about whether he could pull down a male impala. He absolutely could. He pulled down an adult male about a year ago. So, I mean, when he was much smaller. They are immensely powerful. So a big adult male impala weighs about 60 kilograms or so. He weighs about, I would say at this stage, probably 45 to 50 kilos. So a big male impala is no problem for him at all. Okay, we're going to have to move now. I'm going to move parallel with him. I'm going to turn on any lights, so we're going to move very slowly. You see anything there, Seb? He's just gone behind that big thick bush there. Now, of course, the danger is here that we lose him completely. In fact, I think he's probably going in behind those ones that have moved off there. I think he's behind those bushes, but I wonder if he isn't stalking those other two. You see him? Nothing there, hey? Just going to talk on the radio again. Yeah, I've got him. He's there. Yeah, he's right there in front of us. Yeah, we've got him now. Lex? that light on him that you might think is a light is not. It's an infrared light. It's completely invisible. Nandini, you're wondering about his hunting technique and whether he will rely more on strength or speed. He will rely on both, Nandini. He needs to be very powerful to take down something big, but he's also got to be immensely quick. So really he will rely on both, but he won't sustain a chase for any length of time. It's really a sort of shock and awe attack, where the animal turns around and suddenly doesn't have time to even react to his arrival. Antonio, you say, why don't they eat humans? Are we not good meat? I don't know if we're good meat. I've heard that we're quite peppery. Maybe they don't like pepper. No, that's not why. They just don't see us as prey. They recognize us as predators, and on these vehicles, I think they're slightly ambivalent. I don't think they really understand what we are. They don't see us as a threat. I don't believe they can't recognize our faces, but I just don't think they see us as prey, especially on the vehicles. But on foot, they see us as predators, and that's why they don't attack. There he is, still waiting patiently. I suspect now he's going to have a small snooze. Holly, you want to know how you join on these journeys with us? Well, Holly, you just go to YouTube or Google and go to Safari and just search for Safari Live, and there you will find us. And we do this twice a day, every single day, once in the afternoon and once in the morning. All right, this fellow is now going to sleep, so I think what we'll do is say goodbye to our viewers who joined us a little bit later, and well, you can, like I say, join us twice a day every day, once these days at 6 o'clock Central African time, and once again at 3:30 in the afternoon Central African time. So morning and evening, 2 safaris a day, completely live and interactive, and we'd love to have you with us. Lex, come in. I'm just going to talk on the radio, everybody. He's there. He's gone to sleep. Alrighty, let's just... He's gone to sleep. Alright, just zoom in there, Seb. I mean, you know, no further right. Yeah, like there. But yeah, that sort of range, and just go from side to side, and I think you'll see him. I'd go right a bit from there. Is that him? No, go right. All right. Well, we'll try and find him. But Brent Leo Smith has managed to find himself a usable microphone. Let's go across to him.
Yes, it seems like hopefully my audio is all fixed now, and I'm back out. Sounds like Hosana's been giving you quite the show, and I'm hoping to find something of our own to show you, whether it be a bush baby, or a honey badger, or a jackal, or some little nocturnal critter, or even a chameleon. Chameleon would be nice. So of course, having come back to camp has put me quite far from where I was intending to be at this time, and I'm just going to go check down towards where I last had those male leopard tracks around the Mawati. Who knows, maybe Tingana's still around. Is that a chameleon or is that a funny coloured leaf? It's a funny coloured leaf. Now remember, we need your questions at hashtag Safari Live on Twitter, or just pop it on whichever feed you might be watching on, and we'd love to hear from you. Hopefully Hosana gets up on the hunt again, or we find a leopard of our own. Or a bush baby, or anything really. Now, I was really hoping the Djuma Pride were going to come back today, but it seems like they crossed in, according to Aubrey, and then they went straight back across into Arathusa again. So they came out of Sibambili and went into Djuma for a little bit, and then back into the west. Okay, let's have a quick look down here. Pradeep, you're very smart, because yes indeed, the squirrels are sleeping. They've gone into their little hidey holes in the trees, and they're going to try not get eaten at night. So squirrels are diurnal animals, Pradeep, which means they only come out in the day. When it gets dark, they like to go home to their safe little holes in the trees. So no squirrels around at the moment. Okay, let's go. One last big loop, and who knows what we're going to find on it. Whew. Winter is definitely on the way. Much chillier now than it was a few weeks ago. Is the wind making a ruckus? No, it is my microphone that has fallen out of my hat making a ruckus, Rebecca. Sorry. Caught in my hair. It sounded like Bandy was being blown away. How's that? Is that better? Are we not being blown away anymore? My pleasure. There we go. My pleasure, Rebecca. So there we go. Now apparently we don't sound like we are in the southeaster, standing on the Cape Town beachfront trying to not be blown into the sea. We sound like we're on a beautiful still evening in the African bush again. And it is exquisitely still. There's not a breath of wind at the moment. Oh, I've lost my spotlight. There we go. I'm actually going to check one of my favorite little bush baby homes on Zoe's Road. Okay, well, I see what we can find in the sort of southwestern sections. Let's send you back to James, who's managed to spot Hosana peeking through the grass.
Well, we have. He's just lifted his head up, that's why we can see him. And in fact, we saw his eyes shining in the infrared light. And as Brent says, it is the most astonishingly still evening. And I think what he was doing there is basically taking the opportunity to see if he could catch one of those impala. But he's largely playing a waiting game. He wants it to be completely dark. There are a lot of impala on quarantine, which is the clearings just off to the right-hand side of your picture. There are a lot down by the little waterhole, just to the left of your picture. There are bushbuck in and around the camp. There are nyala in and around the camp. And in fact, this little kitty he nearly tried to climb into Rebecca's room the other day. She stepped out and there he was waiting for her. Not in an aggressive fashion, of course. I'm sure he was just asking if he could borrow some shampoo or something like that. But obviously she didn't take it like that, got a bit of a fright. And reversed back in, slammed the door and closed the curtain, which I'm sure must have been quite hurtful for him. Rebecca said he could still look through the window there. Nandini, you want to know if they have a better chance hunting at night? far better, Nandine. They have got fantastic eyes for night vision. And so, I mean, hunting during the day for them, while they do it, and they do it successfully, is not as easy as it is for them at night. But remember, we tend to think of the antelope and other creatures like that and their prey species as having very poor eyesight, or eyesight like ours at night. But in actual fact, they see far better than we do at night. And so still, although the cover of darkness definitely helps, it's not easy by any stretch. It would be complete child's play, for example, for him to sneak up on a human being at night. You would not see a thing, because we just don't have night vision. But sneaking up on an impala in an open area, not easy at all. At least on a still night like this, I think that his scent, of course, would be masked by the fact that there is absolutely no wind whatsoever. Probably indicative of some kind of weather change. I'll be interested to know if we don't wake up in the cloud tomorrow morning. Gosh, they do a huge amount of sleeping. And I mean, I'm sure Sebastian would concur with me here, but if you are a wildlife filmmaker as opposed to a live wildlife filmmaker, which is what Sebastian is now, you can imagine how many countless hours, if you've ever watched those great BBC shows or National Geographic shows, we can see a piece of his ear there. People spend countless hours doing precisely what we are doing right now. Just sitting with a camera on an animal in the night in conditions far less pleasant than the ones we're in. I mean, it's still, it's beautiful, it's warm. We know that food is not far away. But I mean, when you look at the behind the scenes, for example, of how they got that snow leopard footage, I think it was in the first Planet Earth? Maybe on The Hunt. And they were stuck up in the mountains of Afghanistan, I think it was, for months in the tiny little canvas hides. It may seem like a tremendously romantic vocation, but it really does take an extraordinary amount of commitment and patience that I really don't feel I have. Let's go back to the leopard. So either, if you can find him again, well, I mean, you're just going to find a bit of grass there, perhaps. What a beautiful sighting of a leopard we have there. Let's go back across to Brent Leo Smith and see what he's finding with his spotlight.
Well, we're not finding much, but James was talking about the hours spent to get that snow leopard footage. And before I joined Safari Live, I did some work for a small, little-known British wildlife TV program. And I actually met one of the cameramen who was on one of those stints up there in the mountains, and they lived... actually worked with him on a meerkat shoot, of all things. But he explained to me, like, he was in there for 14 days in this tiny little rock sort of cabin, not a cabin, a hide, basically on the mountains, and just watching the sheep, waiting for the snow leopard to make an attempt or pop out, and by himself in there. And he said it was absolutely freezing. And the one night, off his phone, he recorded them mating right behind his little hut. I think it was 3 weeks he was in this little stone. Basically, it's not a tent, or it's not a hut. It's a stone hide, and then they had their sleeping bags and stuff in there, and they were mating right outside. And he did 2 different 3-week stints there. And his last stint is when he heard the mating snow leopards. He actually played me the recording. It was quite cool. Weird sound. Well, not quite like our leopard mating. And the day after he swapped out, there goes that Thickney, with the next guy taking his 3-week stint, is the guy who got that very famous hunt along the rocks chasing those blue sheep. So there's... a lot of patience goes into a lot of wildlife filmmaking, and it's only the best bits you see in the hour, not the hours upon hours upon hours of time out in the field. However, we're alive, so you're with us whether we find a cat or sit with a sleeping cat or being patient to wait for something to happen or not. Now, it's been a long time since I checked this little bush baby hollow, and it's just around the corner here. And I wonder if that dead tree's even fallen down. So we're going to stop and have a look shortly. But we've had some really cool bush baby sightings in there. We might be a little bit late. They might have already moved out again, headed off on their nightly patrols, but we might catch them doing a little bit of greeting and grooming after a day of snoozing. Used to be here, but as I say, it was in a dead... It wasn't in dead, it was in this terminated stump here. One of these two. Let's have a look. Is it this one? No. Not that one. Not that one. It's somewhere around here, but as I say, it's been a couple of years since I checked it. Somewhere here. Pretty sure it was in a terminalia. A dead upright tree, but that could have fallen over. The one we're looking for at the moment, Richard, is a lesser or a South African Galago is also what it's called. Not the thick-tailed. Now, chameleon. Oh, see, you look for bush babies, you find chameleons. See it, little one there. Let me try to get a bit closer. Got him there. Hello, little chap. Let me try and kill the side lights. Might make it a bit... No, it makes no difference. Here we go. Snoozing away on a grass stalk. Little flap-necked chameleon. Now, we're seeing them very late this year. Normally by this time, we don't see chameleons at all, but it's this late rain that is causing us to have such lovely late chameleon sightings. I think my record in one evening in about 45 minutes, but in January or February, I think it was 29 different chameleons in the space of about 4 kilometers. Here we go. Shame little. We won't disturb him. We'll let him snooze. Keep looking for that hole in the tree. Well, as so often happens, as James and I have both been talking about, you spend hours with cats doing just this.
Yes, you absolutely do spend hours and hours with cats doing just this. And if you're, as I say, a wildlife filmmaker that doesn't do the live stuff, you spend even more hours. And I was taken back to a time when we were with those 5 Bilashaka nomads in the Mara. There are 5 young male lions. They're now apparently known as the warriors and have taken over the area around the marsh. And there was a guy, you know how lions can sleep. I mean, they'll sit for 20 hours sometimes doing nothing. There's a guy with this huge lens in a cramped and uncomfortable car. And his job was to sit with these lions until they did something, which could have been the big thing about it is that it could have been 5 minutes from when we left him, or for weeks from when we left him. But all of that time, because you can guarantee, of course, they will get up and do something as soon as you take your eyes off them. So it really does, it's a patience game. And I take my hat off to those people who are able to do it. At least this is our very best friend, Hosana. Tom, you're saying if he was sexually mature, would Tingana be as accepting of him? I don't think Tingana is particularly accepting of him. I think they would be much less accepting of each other. You know, once a leopard hits puberty and goes into adulthood, they will inevitably lose that curiosity for being around other leopards and, in fact, other creatures. And I think that he would make far less of attempt to be around Tingana, and he would react in a much more negative fashion to him should Tingana have come across him. Would he try and take Tingana's territory? Well, you know, I think if Tingana was old enough and he felt that he was strong enough and he wasn't hearing Tingana soar as often, yeah, he may well try and take his father's territory. Certainly Quarantine muscled in on, that's another male leopard, who's now 5. I think he muscled in on his father's territory. No, Minamu, they cannot. You say, can 2 male leopards hold the same territory? No. They are exclusive. And in fact, in leopards, the overlap is very, very small. Much smaller than it is for lions, for example. And in fact, for a long time, when we had both Shadow and Karula, Shadow, his very old sister, who's possibly also deceased, and Karula, his mother, they had territories next to each other. But when they did the maps each month of where they'd been seen, there was an almost dead straight line that went along, which road was it? I think it was pretty much along Zoe's Road, which is a road in the far western side of Djuma. And one did not go west of that road and the other didn't go east of that road. Something's running around here. Oh, he's going. What on earth? I think it was a bird. Yeah. Fascinating. I was looking down, I looked away, and then he was gone. You see him? Look, there's a massive stump in front of us here. Yeah, the guy next to us, I'm afraid, has turned on his lights, so... You got him at all? Down through there. No, that's Inga's. Let's see, one of our camps, everyone. Why did he catch himself a little bird to eat? You know what? That bird has probably been sat there. What's that on the road? He's right in front of us there. There he goes. That bird has probably been... Look, he's going up. Oh my goodness, this is magnificent. He must be seriously hungry if he thinks he's going to catch a bird up there. But like I was saying, I bet that bird was sitting next to him, trying desperately to pick the right moment to fly, absolutely terrified the whole time. As Lex says, maybe it was a genet. Not a bird. Unless it was a bush baby. Gosh, he's good in a tree, isn't he? Careful, boy. Careful, little fella. Oh my goodness. H. Macy says ridiculously grateful. Yes, that's graceful. That's because you've seen him go up the tree. You haven't seen him come down. But yes, compared with anything else, he is very graceful. Look at the tiny little thing he's standing on. How special was that? Look what he was doing. Well, we'll just give him another 30 seconds, everybody, and then it's going to be it from us. We will, of course, see you tomorrow morning. Now, I don't think shining on him while he's in the tree like this is going to do any real harm to his hunting chances. It's highly unlikely there's an impala in the tree there that he's looking for. Alright, everyone, that's going to be it from us. We will see you tomorrow, of course, like I say, at 0600 Central African time. Hopefully with lots of leopards and other exciting things. A massive thank you to the Bushwalk team and the incredible skills of Herbert Hauser for finding this leopard. Until tomorrow, stay safe and happy wherever you happen to be in the world, and we will see you in the dawn.